They said this match should never have happened, and after what went down on Raw, people are furious. Because what you witnessed wasn't just a world heavyweight title match, it was a statement, a warning shot, and depending on who you ask, an absolute disgrace to the future of WWE. CM Punk, Bron Breakker, one ring, one title, and a locker room that may never be the same again. Let me ask you something right now: who did you want to win before the bell even rang? Punk or Breakker? Drop it in the comments, because that answer says a lot about what kind of wrestling fan you are. The moment Punk's music hit, the arena exploded, half love, half hatred. You could feel the tension. Punk walked to the ring like he'd already been disrespected, jaw clenched, eyes locked, carrying the weight of every single critic who said he doesn't belong in the main event anymore. And then came Bron Breakker. No theatrics, no wasted movement, just raw intensity. The champion didn't look impressed, he looked insulted. And from the opening bell, absolute chaos. Breakker didn't wrestle Punk, he ran through him. Spears that echoed through the arena, overhead throws like Punk was nothing but dead weight. You could hear fans arguing mid-match, this is a mismatch, versus Punk still has it. And that's when it got uncomfortable, because Punk refused to stay down. Ask yourself this: how many times should a legend get up before you finally admit they're not done? Punk took punishment that would have put most guys out for months. Steel steps, barricade shots, a power slam so vicious the ring shifted, yet every time Breakker thought it was over, Punk smiled. That smile? That's when things turned ugly. Punk stopped wrestling smart. He started wrestling angry. Elbows, knees, cheap shots, ref distractions. The kind of tactics that make fans scream. That's not how you win a title. But Punk didn't care. He wanted to survive. He wanted to prove something. Here's a question: was Punk fighting to win the championship, or fighting to protect his legacy? Then came the moment everyone is arguing about. Breakker lines up the spear, crowd on their feet, Punk barely standing. Boom, Punk collapses, but the referee is down, and suddenly everything spirals. A low blow, a roll-up, a near fall so close the arena collectively lost its mind. And then, the ending. No spoilers here, but let's just say the final sequence left fans screaming robbed, while others yelled that's wrestling. The title decision? Controversial. The fallout? Nuclear. So here's what I want to know: did the right man walk out as world heavyweight champion? Or did WWE just sacrifice the future to protect the past? Because one thing is clear, CM Punk didn't walk away victorious or defeated, he walked away dividing the fanbase. And Bron Breakker? He didn't just defend a title, he proved he's willing to break legends to keep it. If this match made you angry, confused, or hyped, share this video. If you think this rivalry is far from over, comment run it back. And if you believe this was the most controversial Raw main event in years, you already know what to do. Ring Rumble isn't done talking about this, not even close. Because what happened after the bell might have been even more explosive than the match itself. The camera barely had time to catch the official decision before Punk rolled out of the ring, leaning against the barricade like a man who just survived a car crash. No celebration, no acknowledgement, just that same crooked grin, the kind that makes you wonder if he planned this chaos from the start. And look at Bron Breakker. Look at his face. Pure rage. Not the kind of anger you shake off backstage. This was the kind that festers. The kind that makes a champion question whether respecting the rules is even worth it anymore. Breakker was pacing like a caged animal, yelling at officials, shoving referees away, screaming that it wasn't over. And honestly, can you blame him? Here's a real question: if you were Bron Breakker, would you demand a rematch immediately, or would you want revenge instead? Because this wasn't just about a title anymore. This was about principle. Social media detonated within minutes. Half the fans calling Punk a genius, half calling him a fraud hiding behind shortcuts. And right in the middle, a growing fear that WWE just opened a door it might not be able to close. Think about it. CM Punk, the ultimate disruptor, now entangled with the most explosive young champion WWE has built in years. One thrives on controversy, the other thrives on destruction. That's not a rivalry, that's a collision course. And here's what nobody is talking about enough: Punk got inside Breakker's head. Every missed spear, every delayed pin, every second Breakker wasted arguing with the ref instead of finishing the job. That's Punk's game. Always has been, always will be. He doesn't just fight bodies, he fights emotions. And on Raw, Bron Breakker lost control. So answer this: does that make Punk smart, or does it make him scared? Because let's be real, if this match continues under different circumstances, no ref bumps, no chaos, no distractions, does Punk survive a second time? That question alone is why this story isn't over. Backstage cameras caught Breakker storming past officials, knocking over equipment, shouting that he was done playing games. Punk, silent. No interview, no explanation, just vanished. And somehow that silence spoke louder than any promo ever could. It leaves us with too many unanswered questions. Is Punk chasing the championship, or trying to burn the system down one last time? Is Breakker still the unstoppable future, or just learned that raw power isn't enough? And most importantly, who does the locker room side with when this explodes again? Because make no mistake, it will explode again. This isn't a match you move on from. This is the kind of ending that demands escalation, stipulations, no excuses, no referees to blame. And when that day comes, the outcome won't just decide a champion, it'll decide whose philosophy wins in WWE, old school survival or new school dominance. So let me know, steel cage, no disqualification or last man standing? And be honest, did this match make you respect CM Punk more or less? If this rivalry continues, Ring Rumble will be right here breaking it all down, every controversial call, every brutal moment, every line crossed. Because in this ring, nothing stays settled for long. And here's the part that should genuinely worry every single WWE fan watching this unfold. Because once a rivalry reaches this level, when wins don't feel like wins and losses don't feel like losses, the ring stops being a place to compete and starts becoming a place to hurt someone on purpose. Think about Bron Breakker's trajectory for a second. This is a man who's been bulldozing the roster. No shortcuts, no politics, just violence, speed, and intensity. He's been presented as the future, the guy you build entire eras around. And yet, one night with CM Punk exposed the one crack in his armor: patience. Punk knew exactly what he was doing. Every pause, every look at the crowd, every second spent baiting Breakker instead of engaging him. Punk turned the World Heavyweight Championship match into a psychological trap, and the more Bron tried to end it, the deeper he fell into it. So here's another question for you: is Bron Breakker too explosive for his own good? Because champions don't just need power, they need control. And for the first time, Bron looked human. But don't get it twisted, that's the most dangerous version of Bron Breakker we've ever seen. A champion who feels embarrassed. A champion who feels cheated. A champion who thinks he's been made a fool of. That's how monsters are created. And let's talk about Punk again, because this is where things get uncomfortable for his supporters. Punk didn't walk away triumphant. He didn't stand tall. He didn't raise the title high and soak in the moment. He escaped. Barely. And that raises a brutal question: if Punk has to rely on chaos to survive, what happens when chaos no longer works? Because eventually there will be no ref bump, no distraction, no moment to steal, just two men locked in a ring where excuses die. And when that happens, nostalgia won't protect Punk. This is why the next chapter matters more than the match itself. Does Punk lean fully into being the manipulator, the guy who wins by any means necessary? Or does he try to prove he can still hang straight up with the most dangerous champion in WWE? Either choice leads to violence. And Bron doesn't need to change who he is. He just needs one clean opening, one spear, one mistake, 1 second where Punk can't outthink raw force. So let me ask you this: when this rematch finally happens, do you think it ends clean? Or do you think it ends with someone being carried out? Because history tells us something important: CM Punk rivalries don't fade, they detonate. And Bron Breakker isn't the kind of opponent who forgets. This isn't about age versus youth. This isn't about past versus future. This is about ego, respect, and whose version of wrestling survives. If this storyline continues the way it's heading, we're not just talking about a title change, we're talking about a defining moment for WWE's next era. So sound off in the comments. Who needs this win more, Punk or Breakker? And if you had to choose, whose side are you on when this turns ugly? Because whether you loved this match or absolutely hated it, one thing is undeniable: you're still talking about it. And that means the war has only just begun. And that's exactly why this situation refuses to cool down, because silence is doing more damage than any promo ever could. No official announcement, no confirmation of a rematch, no explanation from Punk, just tension hanging in the air like a storm cloud waiting to burst. And if you've watched wrestling long enough, you already know what comes next. Because when WWE lets something sit, when they let fans argue and boil and split into camps, it's never accidental. This is pressure being built deliberately. And when it finally releases, someone gets hurt. Let's talk about the locker room for a moment, because this is where the ripple effects really start to show. You've got younger talent watching Bron Breakker, the standard bearer for their generation, get outmaneuvered, not outmuscled. That sends a dangerous message. It tells them that strength alone isn't enough, and that shortcuts might be rewarded. And then you've got veterans watching CM Punk still operate in the main event, still warping outcomes around himself, still refusing to play fair. So here's a question you don't hear enough: does this situation inspire the locker room or poison it? Because resentment grows fast in places where opportunity feels stolen. And Punk has always thrived in environments like that. That's the irony no one wants to admit. Punk doesn't need to be beloved. He needs to be relevant. He needs people talking, arguing, furious, defending him or demanding his head. And after this match, mission accomplished. But relevance has a price. Every time Punk survives like this, the target on his back grows larger. Not just from Breakker, from everyone watching closely, waiting for their moment to test whether Punk's mind games still work against fresh hunger. And Bron Breakker? He doesn't need social media approval. He doesn't need cheers. He needs closure. And closure for someone like Breakker doesn't come from tweets or statements. It comes from impact, from domination, from making sure the next time they meet, there's no debate left. So let me throw this at you: if you're booking the next match, do you protect Punk's mystique, or do you cement Breakker as unstoppable? Because you can't do both. One of them has to give. And that's why the next step in this rivalry is the most dangerous one. Not the first match, not the controversy, the response. Will Punk call his shot and set the terms, like he's always done? Or will Breakker force his hand, drag him into deep water, and see if the legend can still swim without tricks? And be honest with yourself: who do you think WWE is really betting on long term? That answer might decide everything, because this isn't just about January 5th. This is about what kind of champion WWE wants leading into the future. One who survives by any means, or one who destroys everything in his path. And here's the final truth: whether you loved this match or hated it, whether you're Team Punk or Team Breakker, you didn't look away. You didn't change the channel. You're still here, still debating, still fired up. That's power. So before you go, answer this. Did this match elevate the World Heavyweight title or damage it? And when this rivalry finally ends, who walks away changed forever? Drop your thoughts. Argue it out. Share this with someone who completely disagrees with you. Because in Ring Rumble, we don't just watch the chaos. We make sure it echoes.